So schools are a pretty safe place.
Coming off the heels of a year riddled with changes, uncertainties, cancellations, and much more, Cordell Public Schools managed to have a much better year that was closer to normal, according to Superintendent Brad Overton. Throughout the year, Cordell Schools has made efforts to keep its students safe since the start of the pandemic, and although this unprecedented event was a surprise, Cordell Schools was already somewhat prepared.
Cordell Schools has been a one-to-one district for several years, especially with the junior high and high school. So our grades 7 through 12, all those students already had a Chromebook. Moving to virtual was a challenge, but in the junior high and high school, we were steps ahead of a lot of people because of the technology that we had in place.
The first 2 months of the pandemic, also the last 2 months of the 2020 school year, allowed for faculty and students to get a grasp of what this current school year would be like, finding the best way to sanitize rooms, how to properly distance their students, setting up a plan for students to have access to lunches, recommending masks, and allowing their teachers to have a say in how their teaching would be done are just some of the precautions that have been taken over the past year.
We've got good staff here, we've got good teachers, and they just kind of jumped on board and did their job and did what they were supposed to do and went above and beyond. And then as you move on into this school year, the challenges weren't over, and our teachers were ready to go.
This year, Overton said that COVID had been almost non-existent at the schools since the first week of February.
So there was a different level of how people reacted, but in the end, it's all worked out, and we've had a pretty good school year, and it was important to us to work hard, and I think our community has supported us well in this.
According to Overton, Cordell Schools saw a decrease in the amount of productivity from some virtual students as well as some struggle from them.
My opinion is that this pandemic has shown us that there's nothing like that teacher in the classroom and that face-to-face contact and that face-to-face relationship that a student gets from a teacher.
This struggle may be reflected in students' upcoming state testing, as Overton thinks this year's results may be an unfair assessment of what the students have learned.
Well, yeah, we want them to learn what they're supposed to learn, but there's so much more important things this year. And yes, learning is our job. That's what we need to focus on the most, and that's what we do. But there's a lot of our kids needed an arm around them this year, and needed a hug, and needed a hold your head up. Things gonna be all right. They needed that more than scoring a little bit better on a state test.
While this school year has yet to end, Overton is hopeful for upcoming events such as awards assemblies, band concerts, and graduations to be able to play out normally, as he said that events like this will have no restrictions in place. Looking ahead to the beginning of the next school year, Overton has hope that things for the students will have returned to normal by next August.
Our hope is that next year is a normal school year, and that we're getting back to life as normal, or as best as it can, or close as we can to be to normal. I know our community hasn't agreed with everything that we did, but they supported us and worked with us and helped us, and we can't get by without our community being supportive. So.
To hear more about Cordell Public Schools' journey throughout the pandemic, head on over to thecordellbeacon.com or pick up a copy of this week's newspaper.